Hi there, I'm Christine Tucci-Osorio, Superintendent of District 622, North St. Paul, Maplewood, Oakdale in Minnesota. I've been a superintendent for 5 years. I've been coming here for 3 years. I first came to this conference because I was invited by a colleague that in a neighboring district of mine, and she invited me to come and join the conversation. Well, the first time I came to this conference, I really enjoyed the opportunity to talk to people from different states and hear how our jobs are similar and in some ways a little different. The politics are different in each of our states, and although the big key ingredient was that we have more in common than we have different from each other, and it was really fun to learn from different people with different perspectives. Every year, school systems, we have different challenges that we face. One of the big ones always is school funding, and how do you navigate and help get school funding to be a priority in your local legislature. And I think we all come from different state environments where we have to do that work together, and learning from each other and the strategies that we each use to navigate our own state legislatures is something that's been really interesting for me to talk to others about. I think the main one that I've had success with is everyday topics. I just had a wonderful conversation with my colleagues about vaping. I think vaping has erupted on the scene as a really huge epidemic, and it wasn't even something we were thinking about 4 or 5 years ago. And what's great about MAASS is that you have the opportunity to engage in real time with real issues that are emerging right now. And so you don't have to wait for the research, the publications to come, which will be coming probably in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years. But we're all facing it right now, today, in our schools. And the wonderful thing about MAASS is we can all talk today about what's happening in our schools this week, and the research has not caught up with that yet. We need to talk in real time today because the epidemic is in front of us today in our classrooms. I think in other conferences, they're very prescribed. They're very prescribed with a set agenda. Somebody's put a lot of research together. There's a very formal agenda and formal presentation topics. Part of what's really exciting about MAASS is that while there is an agenda and there's some formal presentation pieces to it, a large portion of the time is set aside for open networking and discussion. And I think that's what makes it really interesting, because there's room in that space to diverge from what originally was supposed to be discussed based on where the conversation goes in the room. That sort of open court conversation is something that's very unique for a professional conference. Most places are so high structure that there's not room for that to happen. That happens often in the hallway or over dinner, whereas this conference, it's actually built into the conference itself, and that's what makes MAASS really different. I would say there's no other place that I've been to where that's built into the conversation, and the kind of relationships that get formed here are pretty lasting. I think that the people I've talked to at this conference, I will continue to be talking to even when I'm not at this conference. And the conversations and friendships across state lines is pretty unique and remarkable, as we're in our jobs facing the same conversations and the same leadership challenges in states and cities far away from each other.